Hello and welcome back. So now I'm going to talk about Upledger craniosacral therapy. So like I mentioned before, while I was still in massage school, I figured out, oh my God, I can take all this osteopathic training or manual osteopathic training in the US at my own terms, my own speed. So I signed up with the Upledger Institute and they offered the core curriculum, which is 4 classes, Cranial 1, 2, and then somato-emotional release 1 and 2, and you could pay it off, and I think they still offer it that way. You can pay it off $100 a month. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. I'm a student. I'm still not making that much money. Back then, it was 2012, I guess. So I enrolled with the Upledger Institute, Dr. Upledger. Long story short, was a DO, so doctor of osteopathy, and he treated also children on the spectrum back in the 70s and the 80s, and he figured out, well, there are certain things I can teach those to massage therapists. I think he started with the chiropractors, the PTs, and then the massage therapists, because in the end, all you need to know is the anatomy and a treatment protocol. So there weren't enough DOs. So he created the Upledger Institute and the classes, and I have never met him, because he passed away, I think, in 2012. So I have a tendency to take courses from people who create those curriculum, and I find the curriculum the year they pass. So it's a little bit weird, but anyway. So I enrolled in the Upledger Craniosacral therapy curriculum. I'm going to show some books for people who are interested in Upledger craniosacral therapy or in craniosacral therapy. So Dr. Upledger wrote this book, and you can still buy it at the Upledger Institute or online, I guess, on Amazon. It's called Your Inner Physician and You, and it tells the story about Dr. Upledger and how he came to the craniosacral therapy. And I mean, obviously cranial osteopathy is a part of osteopathy, but how he created the curriculum. And there's another great book, Craniosacral Therapy Touchstone for Natural Healing. It has client stories in here, so it's always good to learn and see, especially when people text or email me and say, hey, have you treated this before or that before? It's like, yeah, and even if not, I mean, we're always curious to see what's happening in the body, because a diagnosis or what people think it is, most of the time it is not what they think it is. He has another great book by a craniosacral therapist. It includes also the somato-emotional work and the healing work. It's called From My Hands and Heart, written by Kate McKinnon. You can order that online. And then I inherited, that's not Upledger craniosacral therapy, but Upledger Institute also teaches the Sutherland restrictions of the sphenoids. So we teach those, I believe, in Cranial 2 classes. And someone, actually one of my clients, is a psychotherapist, and she had an original book with an original signature by Dr. Sutherland. It's called The Cranial Bowl. So I inherited this book. And it talks about, well, it's written by Dr. Sutherland, William G. Sutherland. And he talks about the restrictions. So what Dr. Sutherland did, not like me having a lift under my leg, which is kind of like hardcore because mine was 36 years, but he was an osteopath, and he started wearing a helmet, like one of those leather helmets back in the day, the pilot helmets, and he put a screw in it, and he tightened it a little bit every day just to throw his temporal bones out of alignment and to see what happens. And his wife noticed so much more the personality changes, and that's the long story short, the importance of the cranial bowl. So that's why this book is called Sutherland Cranial Bowl. And if you have restrictions within the cranium, and every bone in the cranium also articulates with bones in the feet or somewhere else in the body, temporals with the hip bones, occiput sacrum, and certain sutures with, pubic symphysis and, maxilla C1, mandible C2, so you can see, and then parts in the toes. Everything is connected and articulates with one another. Sometimes when doctors just treat from up here, those TMJ specialists, I'm always wondering, why are you not looking at the feet? Yeah, this needs to be balanced, but we also need to see what is happening all the way below. Where are there restrictions? And that's what my story is also about, to teach as an example. It is the hands-on, or it's the example to see, because you learn, I believe, and I'm a learner by watching someone talk about it, hearing it, and seeing the person. If I sit down and read a book, yeah, it's interesting. I read a lot of books, obviously. I have a lot of books here. I have a lot of books at my house. And I read every evening some German crime stories, just because it's easy. It's my mother language. But again, so craniosacral therapy, and I'm going to talk about the different classes I have taken. I might talk about a couple of classes within one video, but if there was like an emotional release or something really significant, I'm going to make a video for each class. So it's going to be a lot, and I hope it's going to keep you interested in the work and what is possible. Thank you for listening.